Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. That's Joe Smith, and this is the review of Manchester United drawing 2-2 at Goodison Park. And I'll be honest with you, Joe, I'm kind of amazed we're sat here chatting about United drawing that game because I think we're back. I think we were. Forgive me there. Sorry to interrupt you. I think we lost the stream there a little for a second, but we should be back now. Joe, sorry. I mean, we were as bad. I was saying there just before we went off. I was saying there we were as bad as we've been under Ruben Amorim probably in that first half and probably the beginning of the second half.
Yeah, I mean, I just said it, but I'll repeat it. There's that, whatever that phrase is about. There's decades where years happen, and there's years where decades happen. Today felt like a whole season in one game. There was so much to go through, so much to talk about, so many different performances, different it was horrible actually. On the whole, that was a horrible thing to watch. That United were absolutely awful for 75 minutes of that game or 70 minutes of that game, like really, really worryingly bad. And I'm not, putting the pressure on Amorim by saying this, but it looked like the sort of performance you see before a manager gets sacked, like the end of Solskjaer or Jose or Ten Hag. They looked utterly hopeless, like they didn't really know what to do. They didn't really care. It was horrific. And then somehow we've come out with a point. And then the game turned and we looked a bit better and we looked sharper and we could run quicker and we were a bit faster. And it's amazing how momentum can swing and things can feel different. But I struggle to put into words what I've just seen. They were so bad for most of that game that I almost feel like I'm struggling to sort of muster too much enjoyment from the point that we've managed to get there, even though it was impressive and it was a couple of very nice goals to get us back in it. But the day as a whole was mind-blowing. I mean, I'm sure we'll go through the details of it, but what have we even just seen? Do you know what I mean? I feel a little bit sort of stunned by that game, to be honest.
I do. I understand your point, and the first half and the first 20 minutes, whatever it was, of the second half, we couldn't pass from A to B, all over the shop defensively. One or two performances in particular stood out as being worse than the rest. I thought Onana was poor. I thought Maguire was at fault for the second goal as well. And I don't think Delo had a particularly good game. But then I can take comfort from the fact that at least we showed a bit of fighting spirit. We kept going. Good to see Chido getting on as well. We've been crying out for that. And good to see him actually getting some minutes, which is what I wanted to see for the Spurs game. But there's so many issues that this manager has to fix that I do worry. Because you can't just go, okay, we got to draw, everything's rosy. It's not. And we're playing a team that, okay, they've been a little bit rejuvenated under David Moyes, and I said that before the game, but they're still sat, in 14th or whatever they are, still near the bottom. They've still struggled this season. And for about an hour, we made them look like prime Real Madrid. I'm going to go back to you. I'm going to get into some of the comments in the chat. Parag says, Michael Owens says that VAR is at fault for not showing the referee all the angles, and it should have been a penalty because De Ligt was pulling Young's shirt, even though he does agree that Young dived. I mean, yeah, at first I thought it was because I saw like the little shirt thing and I thought, he's going to give that. But when I watched it back, it's not, he dives. He's already going down when that shot is basically being made. So it's not a penalty for me. He's diving. No. It's not, I thought the shirt pull might have affected him. It didn't. He's already gone before that, so it's not a penalty. No. And the referee, VAR and the referee looked at that for a good 2 minutes. And, they looked at it. They asked him to look at the monitor. He had a lot to see from it. For me, it's not a penalty, and it was just frustrating that we allowed them to get to that position because I think it was a poor ball out wide. They come back in, and then another parry, and it could have gone horribly wrong. If you're Ruben Amorim now,
yeah,
we'll get some quotes in a minute. The manager's just given his post-match interview with TNT, so we'll have some quotes. What are you saying to those players after that game? Are you giving them a rollicking? Are you saying well done for fighting back? What would your attitude be if you were the manager of that after watching it? What we've just seen.
Yeah, I mean, we always think like after a bad performance, and this was a bad performance today. Obviously, there are good points to it, and I try and be positive where I can, and we'll talk about positives maybe in a minute in terms of how they came back. But like, you think you want to give them a bollocking, you want to have a go at them, and show them that you can't play like that, all this sort of stuff. But then that would be every game. Like you can't, if you imagine any job, any line of work, these are human beings we're talking about. It's not, footballers aren't mentally completely different from the ground up than anyone else. They're just blokes that we know. Like some of our mates might have been semi-pro or professional footballers. When you chat to them in the pub, they're not completely on another planet mentally.
No.
You know, these are human beings with different techniques and different fucking skill sets to us, but they're still humans. If he goes in there after every single time we're shit and just berates them and destroys them, that will be the only interaction he has with them. There will never be any positives because we're awful every week. So you have to try different things, and I wonder where he's up to on the kind of cycle of how you treat a human to get the best out of them. Because genuinely, if every time we're bad, he screams at them, they'll just be destroyed by now. You can't do it every week. You have to try different things. Sometimes it is an arm around the shoulder or focus on the positives or whatever it may be. But I think, you know, just screaming at them will destroy them as well because they're so bad all the time that sometimes you need a little bit of a more technique than that. But again, you look at that performance and they don't deserve a lot of praise. You can give some praise for the way they fought back and the way that they capitalised. And Bruno Fernandes, who was incredibly wasteful and incredibly frustrating today, was wasteful and frustrating in the name of trying something.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm not saying that you can just do what you want as long as you're giving it a go, because we need quality as well. But at least he was going for it. He's trying to chip balls in behind. He's trying to play people through. He's having shots. Scores that free kick, which was a brilliant goal. And Pickford, I don't even know what the point in having a goal he is if it goes not even in the corner, down the side the keeper's standing, and he's nowhere near it. But that sort of sparked something in Man United. And maybe that's what Amorim says. Maybe Amorim says how you felt for those last 15 minutes, the energy and the work rate and the effort that you put in those 15 minutes, you can do it.
Yeah.
None of you can tell me you're incapable of that now. So next week, minimum, or midweek against Ipswich, minimum, I need to see that.
Yeah. No, I agree.
You know, maybe he builds it around the positives of today's performance, but it was a bizarre game of football.
I've got some quotes from the manager now, and I'll get into your comments. Make sure as well you're hitting that like button, please, people. If you're not doing so already, subscribe to the channel. Ruben Amorim says, if you start the game with that first half and losing 2-0, then it's a good point, but we need to win 3 points and play all the game. The worst part is we are losing balls without any pressure and not doing what we are supposed to do. Then it's really hard. It was clear they will create chances by second balls. We were soft, which is exactly what you've been saying.
It's a great point, that. And you look at their goals. The first one is a rebound from the goalkeeper. Is that the first one? No, the first one is because we had 3 chances to clear the ball out of our box and we didn't.
Yeah.
We've got, little ploppy headers 2 yards to the edge of the 18. They win another one. We win another one. They win another one. And, we stop marking their striker and he scores. So that's not just a second ball, like Amorim said. That's a 4th, 5th and 6th ball by the time that Beto actually puts it in. And the second goal that they scored is the goalkeeper and Harry Maguire not reacting to a mistake by Onana. Like the ball goes straight up in the air and the goalie can't stand up and punch it, and Maguire can't, get across Doucouré and head it away, or just do enough to get in front of him. It's hard for Maguire a little bit there because Doucouré's got a running start.
I was more annoyed with
underneath.
Maguire misjudging the through ball, to be honest.
But yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah,
Maguire messed up before,
didn't
he?
And
did.
the through ball did for him.
It was the worst of Maguire and Onana today. The kind of dithering, clownish elements they both have to their game at times. Someone like De Ligt, he might have a bad game, but he never looks clueless. He looks like an idiot. He might make mistakes. But Maguire and Onana have the ability to look idiotic.
Yeah, you're right.
Mistakes.
It's almost comical.
It's like, I didn't know he was there. Like, and Onana today, everything he does, palms it back into the middle, palms it back into the middle, palms it back into the middle. You think, you're a top flight goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot, and I know you push it outwards.
Yeah.
Like the one where Ashley Young gets, he dives and, but they give a penalty because Onana palms it back into the middle, and De Ligt thinks, I might have to grab him here. Yeah. And I think personally,
it's weird with Onana. It's like if he's no matter where the ball is around him for the save, he always seems to push it back to the danger.
Yeah, that's
we spoke about this at Spurs, and maybe we've been a little bit harsh there, but even I get it if a keeper's stretching and literally all you can do is just stretch, or it's a reaction save and you don't you're just throwing an arm out or whatever.
Yeah, the reaction ones I get.
Yeah, I get. But when you're and it's sort of a relatively comfortable save, as a goalkeeper, half your mind should be either can I catch it or at least get it out. Get it away, and he doesn't do that, and he used to, and it really annoys me. Got some more quotes from the manager. He was asked how he will fix the problems he's seeing. He says, in training, That is why in the second half we didn't change nothing. We did the same thing, but in a good way. Ruben Amorim on if scoring goals is an issue, yes, but also creating chances. But last game we had chances. This game we struggled scoring. I'll get in some comments and I'm going to come back to you on both those points.
Let's hear what people are saying.
I mean, this is Bizarre Pudding says Brugatti saved us. I think Bruno got man of the match as well, didn't he? Which was a massive turnaround because I thought in the first half he was all over the gaff. Matthew Baker says not being funny. Liverpool drew here not so long ago. Eric Le King says Ruben was totally on the money with his analysis. Dread79 says Onana isn't a top keeper, lads. Chris also says Adam McCall's leaving us. Thanks, Maka. See you soon. Says people finally starting to see it with Onana. Eric Le King says Onana is guaranteed to hit the deck regardless of the complexity of the save. Also, JCF29 says Casemiro is done. I do feel like Casemiro, he's just... The last couple of games, he's kind of reminded everyone that he's not the Casemiro of old. Forgive me. And the Premier League's just not probably too quick for him. He might get away with it in the Europa League, maybe, but certainly in Premier League games, I don't even think it matters which Premier League team you're facing. I think the pace is just too much for him. I think like Everton and Spurs are both in the bottom half of the table, and he struggled against both of them. I don't think Casemiro is a player you can rely on personally.
What Onana needs is to play for
someone else.
Well, yeah, but if you played for like an informed City or Liverpool or someone that has loads of ball and basically 99% of what he does is passing the ball out from the back and the odd save, it would work. We almost need what's Newcastle's keeper called, Ethan? Yeah,
Dubravka's been in there.
We need like a Nick Pope because what our goalie does more than anything is save fucking shots because we're crap. Onana isn't a good shot stopper.
Do you know that it's weird though? Last season, he was all right at that. We had a spell anywhere, not all the time, but there was a spell where he looked pretty comfortable, and he was like. And then beginning this season, me and you did a video about him, how good he'd been. Yeah. And it was like he looked. Oh, finally we're seeing the Andre Onana that we thought we saw it in at Milan, or we were expecting the one that sort of broke through at Ajax or whatever. And then the last 2 or 3 months, he's been awful.
And when I say we need a Nick Pope, by the way, I don't mean I think Nick Pope's a great keeper that would take us on, but we don't suit a keeper that is good on the ball or quite good on the ball with a team that can't play out from the back very well and that receives loads of shots on target who isn't very good shot stopper. Like our current squad doesn't suit Onana, and maybe he's just not good enough anyway, but we're certainly exposing his weaknesses every week, and we're not really able to get any of his benefits because our defenders cannot play out. We look so scared.
Honestly, right, Joe, I'm going to say something now. You might think this is outrageous.
Go on.
I genuinely think if Tom Heaton was fit, there'd be a conversation being had right now.
Right now, honestly, you're probably right. He's probably a better shot stopper than Onana is.
I know that sounds insane, but I genuinely think Tom Heaton isn't going to be, pulling off worldly saves left, right, and centre because of his age and everything the rest of it. I do respect the lad, but I think they'd be having a conversation about should we just put in someone who isn't calamitous? Yeah. Because it's just getting a little bit like almost every shot at him, your heart's in your mouth. Yeah. And the defenders must be feeling that as well. It's like you can't trust your goalkeeper. We had that issue towards the end with De Gea, didn't we? Where you could see he'd lost the faith, or the defenders had lost faith in him, the fans lost faith in him, and he'd lost faith in himself. And I wonder how much confidence Onana's got in his own ability. And I don't want to hate on the kid, but you've got to be honest here. Big Dog says it's actually mental that ever since we signed Bruno, we never actually fully utilised his creativity by putting a world-class 9 in front of him. Sam Ford says Højlund, again, 90 minutes, an excruciating wrestling match. Well, I think he came off after 70, to be fair, with a centre-back like a crab in treacle. How can Chido do nothing, yet we look refreshed by that sub? Red Devil says something that I agree with. Says literally is a monster missing the back line. He brings that calmness to a hectic back line. With Onana, it shouldn't be a teeth clenching every time our opponents shoot. Yeah, that has been a bit of an issue. Just on the goal scoring front and on the Højlund and Chido coming on. We didn't see a lot of Chido. I don't want to get too carried away. We know what he's been capable of at the academy level. Finney does academy review, absolutely raves about him. His record, I think he broke the record for the amount of goals he was scoring. Was it 49 in 30 or whatever it was? It was something stupid that doesn't seem right when you look at it written down, but it was. Do you think there's a conversation around the strikers or anything? Or is Chido still too raw?
What conversation?
Like about
starting him over Højlund.
Does he start in the Ipswich game, or is it a case of you can't start?
Maybe for the sake of rotating and take Højlund out the firing line potentially. Although I will say I didn't see anything from Chido that was particularly brilliant when he came. He didn't touch the ball too much, and I'm not trying to criticise him. I think he's a kid.
Let's be honest. Let's not.
But he didn't do anything.
You know what? We're not dadding these players. We're not just going to go.
If he'd come on and got the ball and knocked it past someone, or he had a miscontrol on the edge of the box, the ball rolled past him. He had one where he got intercepted, and fair enough, it was all fine. I'm not, but it was it a notable improvement over Højlund? Really, not particularly. I would maybe start him just because Højlund's been so poor, and you might see something better from Chido. Give him more time to see if he can be better than him.
I think the whole game seemed to. I wouldn't necessarily it was because Højlund came off, Chido came on, but the whole last 20 minutes shifted.
Well, that's because we scored.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't think it was. So it was more positive 20 minutes when Chido was on the pitch, but I don't necessarily think that was because Chido replaced Rasmus Højlund.
I like seeing Chido play. I'm not trying to be critical or defend Højlund, by the way, particularly. But I didn't see much difference in the two of their performances compared to each other.
I think the issue you've got
maybe you need Højlund. Maybe Højlund needs a couple of weeks off.
Just looks like a player, and I've been saying this for 2 months now.
Yeah,
he looks like his confidence is gone. It doesn't. Like there was a time as well when the ball came to him, and he miscontrolled it near the centre of the park. Or it was quite a quick pass, but it was controllable, and it's like it got away from him. And I think for me that's a bit of a confidence thing. It's not like he's that bad he can't control the football. No. I think his confidence looks shot. Let me know what you think. We've got a couple more quotes from Ruben Amorim. He was asked about. So he just said everything we do during the week we have to use during the game. I think some people were questioning that. We had a bit of a breather this week. We're not seeing an improvement. Also, he says we need to survive this season. That is clear, and then to think ahead. I think that's obvious. Well, we have still got the cup competitions. Yeah. Heaven's Soul says Rasmus needs a tap in that he can celebrate with the scream. He does, but is he going to get it? That's the issue. Also, as well, I think we might have some quotes from Bruno Fernandes. He said, we have to do much more. Me first. Everyone has to lift standards of each other and end the season in the best possible way. And if you care about this thing, the XG, Everton was 2.05. Ours was 0.45. I mean, that's not good enough.
And that's we had the same number of shots as Everton. So it's a testament to our lack of ability to get the ball in good areas. Like, we don't have strikers when you look every single game, sometimes we'll have one good chance, but most of our chances come from very, very low XG areas. Like, you look at the shot map today, I think 6 of the 9 shots come from outside the 18-yard box.
Yeah.
It's hit and hope. Yeah. And obviously Bruno got one, so that's great.
Can I just say one thing as well? Sorry. It's about time he scored a free kick, Bruno Fernandes. Yeah. How many free kicks has he had in succession where he hasn't scored? It's
20, 30.
I'd say probably more than that. I think it's a
lot.
I think the one thing going for him at the minute is I was saying that maybe give Ahmad a go on free kicks because he has scored some during his career, but he's not obviously out. There isn't anyone who stands out you think he's a free kick taker. So it's got to be Bruno, and he scored today. It's been a bit of a bugbear, man. I don't know. He looked like he was decent with free kicks a few years ago. And he seems to have sailed off.
He strikes the ball well, doesn't he?
That's what I mean. But, he's hit the bar a few times and he's made do you know what I mean? But just hasn't got a goal. He got one today. Hopefully, he can build on that and we can start making the most of set pieces. On the whole,
yeah.
Do you think that this team can take a positive from today, or do you think it's a negative?
They need to find a way to take a positive from it.
Yeah.
Because we didn't learn really anything new in terms of negatives. We already knew we were this poor and capable of being this poor. We've been this poor all season. So instead of focusing on the negatives we already know, let's try and latch on to some of the positives that we may have learned today.
Yeah.
So there is an element of fight back there. I think today we saw the stat when United are losing in games. We've won 3, draw. I think it was something like we've conceded first in 15 games. Let's say it was like won 3, drawn none, lost 12. So we've learned that we can fight back from 2 goals down against one. I know they're only Everton, but they're one of the more informed teams in the league.
Yeah.
We've learned that. We've learned that we can. That's it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But let's focus on that. Like I said, we've got enough negatives to focus on. They already know all this. Amorim must be telling them all this. Like I said at the start, he must have bollocked them and screamed at them no end of times. Let's try and focus on the positives for the next game, because otherwise, the confidence is going to go further and further down, and who knows what can happen when that happens. So let's focus on the small positives, that maybe there is a little bit of resilience there.
I'll give you a couple of positives as well. Patrick Dorgu, he had a good game. Got Statman Davis done some stats. 100% tackles won, 89 touches, 44 passes completed, 11 ground duels contested, 8 ground duels won, 8 ball recoveries, 6 clearances, 4 crosses. Looks a promising player, Statman's put here. And I think there's, for a sort of, one of your first games in a red shirt, I thought he did well. Manuel Ugarte as well. I thought, for me, I would have given Ugarte a man of the match. I thought he was slightly better than Bruno. 91% pass accuracy, 65 touches, 9 defensive actions, 6 ball recoveries, 6 ground duels won, and obviously a goal as well. Like a good performance for him. We've missed him. I think with this Manchester United team, you can't afford to lose too many players. And losing Ahmad, Mainu, Martinez, and Ugarte and Yoro is almost a step too far. We need at least one of those back, and Ugarte obviously being back is a massive bonus. And I expect Yoro to start next game. I think he's coming back from injury today, is why the manager probably thought, or the back three is one he's picked before anyway. But I wouldn't mind seeing Lenny Yoro start against Ipswich. Joe, thanks for that, bro. Always a pleasure, never a chore. Thank you to everyone who got involved in the chat. There's a subscribe link in the chat. It's a pinned comment in the chat, so please hit that subscribe button if you've not done so already. Not the greatest game of football that we've watched, we'll be honest, but Manchester United leave Goodison Park for the last time ever with a point, and after that first 70 minutes, we'll take it. That's been Joe, I've been Jay. This has been a review of the game. Thanks for watching.